जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। सर्वशास्त्रब्धिपीयूषा सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धान्तरात्माद्य सर्वलोकैकदृक्प्रदा सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभो कालीध्वंतोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंदपाथाय प्रेमवर्ष्यक्षरायते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। अस्साधु मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गीन् मद्गुरो मन्महादन मनिष्ठारक मद्भग्यान् मदनन्दा नमोस्तुते। अस्साधु साधुतादायि नचिनीचोचतकर हनमुञ्च कदाचिन् मम प्रेम्ण हृत् कण्ठयो स्फुरा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So we are reading from second canto, chapter 7, entitled Scheduled Incarnations. Text 8. Viddhaḥ sapatny-udita-patribhir rājño. Viddhaḥ sapatny-udita-patribhir rājño. Bālo sann upagatas tapase vanāni. Bālo sann upagatas tapase vanāni. Tasmā adād dhruva-gatim gṛṇate prasanno. Tasmā adād dhruva-gatim gṛṇate prasanno. Divyāḥ stuvanti munayo upary-adhastāt. Divyāḥ stuvanti munayo upary-adhastāt. Viddhaḥ sapatny-udita-patribhir rājño. Bālo sann upagatas tapase vanāni. Tasmā adād dhruva-gatim gṛṇate prasanno. Divyāḥ stuvanti munayo upary-adhastāt. Viddhaḥ sapatny-udita-patribhir rājño. Bālo sann upagatas tapase vanāni. Tasmā adād dhruva-gatim gṛṇate prasanno. Divyāḥ stuvanti munayo upary-adhastāt. Ladies? Viddhaḥ sapatny-udita-patribhir rājño. Bālo sann upagatas tapase vanāni. Adād dhruva-gatim gṛṇate prasanno. Divyāḥ stuvanti munayo upary-adhastāt. Viddhaḥ, pinged by. Sapatni, a co-wife. Udita, uttered by. Patribhiḥ, by sharp words. Anti, just before. Rājñaḥ, of the king. Bālaḥ, a boy. Api, although. Sann, being so. Upagataḥ, took to. tapase, severe penances. Vanāni, in a great forest. Tasmai, therefore. Adāt, gave as a reward. Dhruva-gatim, a path to the Dhruva planet. gṛṇate, on being prayed for. Prasannaḥ, being satisfied. Divyāḥ, denizens of higher planets. Stuvanti, do pray. Munayo, great sages. Yet, thereupon. Upary, up. Adhastāt, down. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest. And the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward. Purport. When he was only 5 years old, Prince Dhruva, a great devotee and the son of Maharaja Uttanapada, was sitting on the lap of his father. His stepmother did not like the king's patting her stepson, so she dragged him out, saying that he could not claim to sit on the lap of the king because he was not born out of her womb. The little boy felt insulted by this act of his stepmother, nor did his father make any protest, for he was too attached to his second wife. After this incident, Prince Dhruva went to his own mother and complained. His real mother also could not take any step against the insulting behavior, and so she wept. The boy inquired from his mother how he could sit on the royal throne of his father, and the poor queen replied that only the Lord could help him. The boy inquired where the Lord could be seen, and the queen replied that it is said that the Lord is sometimes seen by greatest sages in the dense forest. The child prince decided to go into the forest to perform severe penances in order to achieve his objective. Prince Dhruva performed a stringent type of penance under the instruction of his spiritual master, Sri Narada Muni, who was specifically deputed for this purpose by the personality of Godhead. Prince Dhruva was initiated by Narada into chanting the hymn composed of 18 letters, namely Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Lord Vasudeva incarnated himself as Prishni-garbha, the personality of Godhead with 4 hands, and awarded the prince a specific planet above the 7 stars. Prince Dhruva, after achieving success in his undertakings, saw the Lord face to face, and he was satisfied that all his needs were fulfilled. The planet awarded to Prince Dhruva Maharaja is a fixed Vaikuntha planet installed in the material atmosphere by the will of the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. This planet, although within the material world, will not be annihilated at the time of devastation, but will remain fixed in its place. And because it is a Vaikuntha planet, never to be annihilated, it is worshipped even by the denizens of the 7 stars situated below the Dhruva planet, as well as by the planets which are even above the Dhruva planet. Maharshi Bhrigu's planet is situated above the Dhruva planet. So the Lord incarnated himself as Prishni-garbha just to satisfy a pure devotee of the Lord. And Prince Dhruva achieved this perfection simply by chanting the hymn mentioned above, after being initiated by another pure devotee, Narada. A serious personality can thus achieve the highest perfection of meeting the Lord and attain his objective simply by being guided by a pure devotee who automatically approaches by dint of one's serious determination to meet the Lord by all means. The description of Prince Dhruva's activities can be read in detail in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this chapter Lord Brahma discusses the Lila avatars of the Lord. As we found out yesterday in a class by Akinchana Krishna Prabhu, is that the transition to this chapter, to this topic, is made by Lord Brahma in the last verse of the 6th, that is the previous chapter of the Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma says that that now I will describe the main Lila avatars, and hearing their activities, it counteracts all foul matter in the ear. Everything inauspicious, everything dirty will become purified, and it is also pleasing to hear. So, and this chapter speaks about the Lila avatars, very purifying to the ear and pleasing to the ear. So we are discussing here Prishnigarbha is one of the Lila avatars of the Lord. Yeah, just anyway, a small thing. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur summarizes the whole chapter, saying that the 7th chapter will describe Lila avatars of the Lord, beginning with Varaha. The first verse was about Varaha Dev, and it succinctly, means summarily, describes their activities, opulences, and their devotees. So here specifically, it's a lot about the devotee of Krishnagarbha, Dhruva Maharaj. If you see the verse, there's no name of the avatar, but Prabhupada gives it. It's Prishnigarbha. The Sridhar Swami, the first commentator of the Bhagavatam, he says that this verse describes any avatar that was satisfied with Dhruva and gave him his planet. So he didn't identify; it's just some avatar, right? But Prabhupada says it's Prishnagarbha. So how is that? Well, I guess, it's quite obvious. He follows Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he says it's Prishnagarbha, and he gives reasons, and he quotes from Lagu Bhagavatamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Rupa Goswami describes that this avatar is Prishnagarbha. He explains it. He says it's like this. All the avatars mentioned in this chapter, they have a name. They have activities in summary and the name. Only this one doesn't have. And this is avatar during Swayambhuva Manvantara. So when Swayambhuva Manu was ruling. So this is clear from the 4th canto, where activities of Dhruva Maharaj are explained. So, and also, there is a description in the 10th canto where Krishna is speaking to just newly born, let's say. Krishna just appeared in the prison of Kamsa and speaks to his father and mother, Devaki and Vasudeva. And he says, and he tells them their previous births. So you were Prishni and Sutapa. And the Lord wanted you to, actually Lord Brahma wanted you to create progeny. And you first underwent severe austerities by controlling the senses. And I appeared in this world as Prishni Garbha, or one who is celebrated as having taken birth from Prishni. So Prishni is the mother, Prishni Garbha, born from the womb of Prishni. But there are no activities mentioned of the Prishni Garbha. So this is the only avatara, Lila avatara during Swayambhuva Manu period when he was ruling that it has a name but doesn't have any activities mentioned. And this verse speaks about the activities of the Lila avatara in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, but it has no name. So this is what it remains. So he says this is the logic of the remainder, what remains there. So this is Prishni Garbha. And it's, maybe we never question when we, read or recite this verse. Hantaya madriya bala haridasa varyo. It's about Lord, about Govardhan hill. The gopis pray to the hill, and it says Hantayam Adri Rabala Haridasa Varyo. It just says this hill, and then describes what this hill does. It's the best of the devotee, best of the servants of Lord Hari, the Rama Krishna Charanas Prasha Pramoda. Very happy when Krishna and Balaram are putting their steps, their feet on him. And he's offering his respects to them, to Krishna and Balaram, to the cowherd boys, to the cows, by offering, fresh grass, fresh water, caves where they can hide, play, and during heat like this, very nice to go to a cave and enjoy the cool temperature, and roots and fruits and so on. So it's not mentioned who is this hill, but it's the same from the circumstances that we know there's a hill, Govardhan. But here it's mentioned how it looks like, and everything matches. So it must be Govardhan. So in the same way, this is Lord Prishni Garbha. And also he says that some may say, but no, this is a separate incarnation. It's just to please Lord, to please Dhruva Maharaj. The specific avatar came, and it's not Prishni Garbha. But he says, no, but if you when an avatar, the personality of Godhead comes for the devotee, to interact with him, to satisfy the devotee, if each and every instance would be a separate incarnation, then what about Lord Krishna, Lord Ramachandra? So many interactions with different devotees, but it's Lord Krishna. It's not separate when he is with gopis, with his gopas, and so many devotees. So it's Prishnigarva. This is the conclusion of Srila Rupa Goswami. So we hear Lord Brahma says, this is very purifying and pleasing to the ear. Lord Chaitanya, he liked to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the ears, or from the mouth of Gadadhar Pandit. It says that he became intoxicated by the mellows of ecstatic love by listening. But Pralad Charitra or Dhruver Charitra Shatavriti Koryashunan Savahito. But he attentively heard the glories of Pralad and Dhruva hundreds of times. Specifically, this is mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. Especially he was fond of Pralad Charitra and Dhruva Charitra. Hundreds of times he would hear. There's something special in these narrations, especially these two, about Pralad and about Dhruva. And this is confirmed in the Falashruti. This Prabhupada says we can hear more or everything about Dhruva Maharaj in the 4th canto. And it's 5 chapters dedicated to Dhruva Maharaj. Yeah. So at the end of the pastime, at the end of the description of Dhruva Maharaj, it says that great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj, his great reputation and character. So confirmed, yeah. There's many verses. There's quite a long Falashruti, a long list of the results of hearing of this of the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj. But the most kind of maybe important for devotees says that one who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains the pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. So, yeah, this is quite satisfying. It's worthwhile listening about Dhruva Maharaj. So, what is so special about Dhruva Charitra, activities of Dhruva Maharaj? When the topic comes in the Bhagavatam, when Maitreya speaks, he's speaking about the Swayambhuva, Manu. And then he speaks about his sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapada. And actually Priyavrata is his first son, and then is Uttanapada. But he starts speaking about Uttanapada. And it's explained that this is because Maitreya was very eager to describe pious activities of Dhruva Maharaj. So he just skipped Priyavrata. Priyavrata will come later. Not that Priyavrata is also a great devotee, but somehow a prominence is given to Dhruva Maharaj, and therefore Uttanapada. The incidents in the life of Dhruva are very attractive for devotees. Prabhupada says in the commentary. So he says, what can we learn from Dhruva Maharaj and his activities? So one learns how one can detach himself from material possessions. Then how one can enhance one's devotional service by severe austerities and penances. Then by hearing the activities of pious Dhruva, one can enhance one's faith in God and can directly connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus one can very soon be elevated to transcendental platform of devotional service. So, and one more, the example of Dhruva Maharaj austerities can immediately generate a feeling of devotional service in the hearts of the hearers. So, just as all the descriptions in the Bhagavatam, they are to be relished, and also then something happens in our hearts. We wish to become at least something like Dhruva Maharaj, be determined like he was, humble actually at the end. So many good qualities of Dhruva Maharaj. So Prabhupada in the purport gave a beautiful summary of the whole 5 chapters of the Bhagavatam which deal with Dhruva Maharaj. And now we have some time and we can say expand the summary a little bit. It's going to be a summary anyhow, because for Dhruva Charitra, just for reading the verses, maybe a few hours, or 1 hour, 2 hours. So this incident, how it all begins, all this happening when Dhruva Maharaj tried to come to the lap of his father, where his brother Uttama was already, and then his stepmother very cruelly prevented him. And she didn't just prevent him, she gave some reason. And one is very obvious, you're not my son, you're not born from my womb, so you're not qualified. It's a very good reason, right? I'm big. Everything connected to me is important. If you're not connected to me, I'm not important. Just typical egoistic, materialistic person. It's amazing. But she will not just speak like this. Then she'll say, but if you want to come to the lap of your father, means to ascend on the throne, then you have to worship Narayana. Amazing, right? A complete materialistic person now instructs to worship Narayana. By his blessings, you can be born in my womb, and then born from my womb, and then you can go, attain the throne. So one may wonder, what is this? It sounds, it's a kind of strange mix of a materialist being pious. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Suruchi wanted to impress her husband Uttanapada. I'm a great devotee, actually. So she spoke something, nice also, but that was more or less incidental, because to worship Lord Narayana is pious and nice, and those who do it are praised by other pious people. So she said it. But by chance, she gave a good advice, actually. And it worked. It all started with Suruchi, actually. So Dhruva Maharaj was, of course, very angry. Anyone would be. I mean, any one of us, I'm sure, would just be at least insulted, angry. So he was, and he went to his mother. His mother, Suniti, was not present there. And he didn't even have to say what it was. He was crying and he was angry. This was tears of anger. He was kshatriya. He was, he wasn't lamenting in a petty way. He wanted to do something. So, they say, not crying like a woman, just crying for. No, he wanted from sorrow, he will do something. And the mother got to know what happened. She asked the other witnesses, residents of the palace, and she got to know what happened. And she was, of course, hurt. Said, yeah, I'm neglected by our father. He doesn't like me. He likes Suruchi, not me. And actually, she's right. She spoke rightly. You should be born from her womb. She was just being completely devastated. And Dhruva asked her, so what I'm supposed to do now? Now, Suruchi said, actually, you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. He only can help you. Yeah, so as we said, the Suruchi started the whole thing. And she also said, do not wish anything bad for anyone. See what a great character of Suniti. She didn't say, yeah, worship Narayana and, get, blessings and revenge to these rascals. No. Do not wish anything bad for anyone, because plainly what goes around comes around. If you wish something bad for others, that will come back to you at some point. So, and she gave examples that your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by his blessings, he was able to create this material world. And also the example of Swayambhuva Manu, Dhruva's grandfather. He also worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was doing great sacrifices, and he was distributing charity. And with unflinched faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by doing that, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness, and afterwards achieved liberation. And all that is impossible to achieve by worshipping demigods. So don't think of worshipping the demigods, worship Narayan. And take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very kind to his devotees. Just always engage in his service. So Prabhupada says that the system of Bhakti Yoga described by Suniti to Dhruva Maharaj is this Bhakti Yoga. This is the standard way of God realization. This is what it is. So Suniti Maharani, she was very qualified, pure character, and gave him the right advice. So she said in conclusion, you came crying to me, but I'm not able to help you. But Lord Narayan, He can help you. So go to Him. The kindness of Narayana His kindness is the kindness of millions of mothers combined. What a mother can do, Krishna, Narayan, He can do. there's a limit how much a mother can do. In this case, nothing, just a good advice. But Krishna can do everything. So that was the instruction of the Suniti. So he heard this, Dhruva heard this, thought about it, and agreed, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And with determination, he left his father's house. Now, this was something so incredible that the whole universe knew about it. Narada Muni got to know about it, and he decided, as we hear, prompted by the Lord, to go and see this boy, this Dhruva Maharaj. So he came to him, touched his hand on Dhruva's head, and said, "Wow, you Kshatriyas are so amazing." He was just awestruck with, this 5-year-old boy being a Kshatriya, so determined and so insulted. And now he is going to the forest to show to his father that, you cannot treat me like this. And you are a little boy. You should be attached to playing. Why are you so you're so affected by words insulting your honor? Kids usually they're not insulted for a long time. They forget because they have other things to do. I guess there are some kids who are also bear in mind some apaman, some insult that they got received. So he says, your dissatisfaction is just another feature of Maya. Just whatever happens in our lives is just a reaction of our previous activities. So some good, auspicious things come, inauspicious comes, you just, live through it. Just be satisfied with whatever comes and just worship the Lord. Don't be disturbed by this. He says that to satisfy the Lord is not very easy. It's very difficult. So he says all these things to see. What is this Dhruva? Will he make a good disciple, or he will just go at the first instance? Whenever there's some opportunity, then he'll stop with the worshipping of the Lord. Prabhupada says that Bhakti Yoga is simultaneously very difficult and it's very easy. And he explains that for a sincere person, devotional life is very easy. But for those who are not determined and sincere, the process is very difficult. So therefore, it was very easy for Dhruva Maharaj because he was determined, he was sincere. He wanted his goal, which he could get only by worshipping the Lord. So, Narad Muni is testing his disciple, and he says one very good advice. So many good advices, but one more. He says that one will not be affected by the threefold miseries of this material world if, when one meets a person that is more qualified than oneself, is very happy. Oh, so nice, more qualified. And is pleased, not envious. And when one meets a person who is equal to oneself, he makes friends with that person. Doesn't compete or anything like that. And when one meets a person who is less qualified, doesn't doesn't put that person down, but is compassionate toward that person. So that really solves many miseries in this material world. But Dhruva said, yes, pranam, Narad Muni, he was very respectful. He's like a typical good boy, good, good manners, good character. It's very good advice, but I'm covered with ignorance. So the philosophy that you presented to me doesn't touch my heart. It's way above me. I cannot do it. He says, yes, because I'm born in a kshatriya family, this will not work. Indicating that, what you say is good for brahmanas, not for kshatriyas. Brahmanas tolerate and just go on, but not kshatriyas. Kshatriyas do something if something is wrong. And he said clearly what he wants. I want a position more exalted than any position achieved within the three worlds by anyone so far, even by my fathers or forefathers. So just please tell me, advise me an honest path, honest path to follow by which I can achieve the goal of my life. So he's saying, he doesn't say just by hook or by crook, give me this position, the highest position in the material world. No. He says, give me some honest means how to achieve that. Indirectly he says, honest, how can be honest? How you can, if it's given by the Lord, I will accept it. Right? This is honest. Indicates that devotees also, they are not pushing their way around, grabbing for positions, grabbing for possession. If it's given by the Lord, fine. We do our normal activities, not something like extra, completely crazy about material possessions and position, maybe even within the society of Vaishnavas. No, if it's given easily, honest path, then I'll accept. Otherwise, I do not. Amazing, no? Dhruva Maharaj, from the start, he was like that. So therefore, when he got whatever he got, he could just be renounced and be very sorry. Oh, Krishna, what was I asking for? Now, the Lord came in front of me, and I asked just for some broken glass. But Divya Ratna, I achieved the transcendental jewel. I do not want that anymore. I'm completely satisfied. The change of heart, complete change of heart, and yeah. So Dhruva Maharaj is so inspiring in that sense. His life is, in one sense, reminds me that when you join Krishna consciousness, for those who are not born in the movement, but things become very adventurous, interesting, starts to happen. That's the life of Dhruva Maharaj. Now it just starts. Now he's in the forest, Narad Muni comes, advises him, becomes his disciple, executes devotional service under his guidance for 6 months and achieves the result. The Lord comes in front of him. And then the Lord says, okay, I'm giving you the pole star, Vaikuntha planet, you'll rule there. Nobody ever ruled there, but you will be. Your desire was very difficult to fulfill, but the Lord could fulfill. And and then he comes back, then advises him, go back to your father. You achieved what you want, but you will rule also. It's not that now you go to to the Vaikuntha planet within the material world. No, you still have something to live here. Go back to your father. You will rule over the earth for 36,000 years, and there's more. This is just the start. This is like the 8th, 9th chapter of the 4th canto. There's 10th, 11th, 12th. Then he goes back to Godhead, very in a flashy way. the Nanda Sunanda, the Vishnu Dutas come to fetch him in the airplanes, vimanas, golden, and at that point then Dhruva dies, so to say. His body is left behind. Dhruva is very happy. He says it just steps on the death and ascends to the plane, and then he says, oh, where's my mother? Oh, don't, you know, Nanda Sunanda said, don't worry, she's there in another airplane. So they go back to Godhead like that. So, yeah, this narration gives faith in devotional service, and utsaha nishchaya daryat tatat karma pravartaham sangatyagat satovrite sad bhaktir prasidyati. So, you know, determination, enthusiasm, and also some patience, but Dhruva wasn't patient much. 6 months he got the result of his practice. But that was because he was determined. He was enthusiastic, and he was tatat karma pravartana. He was doing the activities of devotional service, and therefore the result was very quick. Yeah. And of course he didn't associate with any materialist, and was following something honest vritti, or following the path of the great devotees. So, yeah, this is Prahlad Charitra in short. Are there any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. In Dhruva Maharaj, we see that Dhruva Maharaj had a material desire, and the Lord fulfilled it.
Right.
And he purified him also. And when Dhruva Maharaj got those things, he didn't feel like he thought that we have got broken pieces of glass. So in my case, even if I have material desires, I pray to the Lord, I approach the Lord. But when that material desire comes, when I achieve it, even it may be small thing, then the natural tendency is that we forget the Lord. So how do we get this consciousness, or why don't we get this consciousness that this is broken piece of glass? Like Dhruva Maharaj got that realization. So why don't we get this consciousness that this is broken piece of glass and the Lord has fulfilled it?
You will get it. You'll get it with time. You know, the material desires fulfilled, fine. So we are happy. But then live with those material desires, live material life. Maya kicks us left, right, center. So if we do not learn the quick way, like Dhruva Maharaj did, then slow way. We need more beatings of Maya. That's it. And we should, we hear the philosophy, we hear the Bhagavatam, we hear that the material desires are bad, they're not glorified in the Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj, yes, he Narad Muni expertly engaged his proclivities, his desires, to engage him in devotional service. So we need to have an expert spiritual master, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Gurus around us, who will know, who are more experienced than us, and they will see how our material desires can be used in devotional service, and then slowly we'll forget about them completely, because we'll see that they're actually detrimental. But if kama sarva kama moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param, just that Dhruva Maharaj really showed tivra bhakti, very strong, determined bhakti. He was sarva kama, but at the end he became akama. He didn't want anymore. So that's the process. That's the idea. That's why we recommend, even you have material desires, don't worship the demigods. Go to the source of the one who has everything and can give everything. Demigods are just the middleman. So go to the main one. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, regarding the same question what Prabhu has asked. So in Bhagavatam we have two cases. Like we have this Dhruva Maharaj. So earlier he also had material motives. But then Narad Muni came and he was instructed to do penances like that for Lord Vishnu. Then after when Lord Vishnu appeared in front of him, then he said Kachan Vichiman Api Devyaratnam, on all that verse.
Yeah.
And that is to say that he got purified, right? Then we have other case, that Purava and Urvashi, that case comes. He also did yajna and Supreme Lord appeared in front of him. And he didn't get purified. And our Acharya says that it's because he wasn't guided by some, let's say, Guru or Narad Muni, which was, in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he wasn't guided or blessed by so many, spiritual master.
Right.
So that is one case. But the third case comes of Prajapati Daksha. He also, did penances, yajna. Supreme Lord appeared in front of him, but his heart didn't get, transformed or purified. In fact, Supreme Lord benedicted him that you continue producing more and more children, that is to say.
Right.
So there are two contrasts which we see in this Bhagavatam. One, here we have Dhruva Maharaj. On the other hand, we have, let's say, Purava or Prajapati Daksha. So how can we understand these things?
Well, there are positive examples and negative examples. We learn from both, from positive and negative. The Prajapati Daksha, his example is not one to be followed. Right? He remained materialistic. He was a great personality. We offer our respects to him, but not as a great devotee. He wasn't. He was just a very powerful, pious man, but he didn't understand devotional service. Not at all. That happens. Some people just remain on this kind of pious platform, but they don't have any desire to go further. So
Dhruva Maharaj didn't have anything either in the beginning. It happened only after when Supreme Lord appeared in front of him. That is right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and he put his panchajanya, his shell, on him, and that the Acharyas described as this is the moment when he really got purified. Because Dhruva Maharaj, he saw the person on whom he meditated in the heart, and then that meditation broke, and then he opened his eyes, and then the same person was in front of him. And he wanted to glorify him, but he couldn't. He just wasn't able to. He wanted to offer prayers, but then the Supreme Lord put his panchajanya on him, and then all the knowledge came to him. And at that time he realized also, oh, stupid me, what did I ask for? And he became very ashamed of that. He wasn't happy actually. It's described that, when the Lord told him, I'm going to fulfill your desire, you're getting the pole star, this, and then he left. Dhruva Maharaj was unhappy. Not because, because it's like, how stupid I am. In 6 months, I could satisfy the Lord, and I saw him face to face, and I wanted this, the highest position. So I don't know. So what's your question? What's the point?
So yeah, finally my point is, we said that if we have some material desire, so
right,
we have to approach Supreme Lord, not any other demigods.
Right. Oh,
so,
you're saying, but sometimes it happens even you.
So my concern is we shouldn't slip into the category of Prajapati Daksha or Purava for that.
If you're not guided properly, he actually. Dhruva Maharaj heard already from Narad Muni what is the proper way. You don't desire anything, that was there, but it didn't appeal to him. Now he understood. So he was guided by Narad Muni. By his blessings, this realization came about. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. 2 questions. The first thing is, in both the case of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, they were like 5 years old, and they had great devotional service for that particular age. And there is mention of who Prahlad Maharaj was in his previous life.
Right.
So I'm curious to know, like, for Dhruva to be so much determined, what his previous life was like?
I'm not acquainted with that. Might be somewhere stated, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But just see his lineage. Uttanapada, the son of Swayambhuva Manu. There's a line from Lord Brahma. So these are all great people. Even Uttanapada, he has this weakness. He liked Suruchi. He was too much. He was too affected by lust, So therefore he couldn't really exhibit his greatness. Later on he did. He was also very ashamed of himself at how I was treating my son and my other wife. He was not happy. He realized his mistake. So these are all great people, great personalities. But Dhruva is, even among the great personalities, very special. And 5 cantos of the Bhagavatam speak about Dhruva Maharaj. So what was he in the previous life? Don't know.
And my second question is, it says that if one becomes a pure devotee, several generations in that lineage, I think it's 21 if I get it correctly, something like that. It's there.
I think in Prahlad's
example, it's there. And coming back to Dhruva Maharaj's example, like towards the end, you mentioned about the celestial aeroplane coming and taking. So this point of the other family members, like his stepmother, father getting liberated, can we understand that it's not specifically within that lifetime? Because they too have their own free will and desire. So this point of they getting liberation could be taking several lifetimes. Is that the correct understanding?
Yeah, can take several lifetimes, but or not. It's like depends on that particular person. But yeah, it's going to, the material existence will come to an end in for 21 generations. But they're not described in the Bhagavatam. It would be too much. Even now we are hardly dealing with the Bhagavatam. It's huge. But eventually, maybe in one life, who knows? We don't know.
So, in this pastime, is there any mention of his father also getting liberated along with this mother?
Not that I know of.
Oh.
But he gave up his kingdom, gave it to Dhruva Maharaj. Maybe there's something mentioned there. He was a great devotee also. He just had this weakness that prompted this whole pastime. We'll have to finish here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gṛṇate Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol.